How are you guys doing? Today is Sunday, December 26th, 2021. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Saturday, December 25th, 2021. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas. But taking a quick look at where we are in the calendar year, first, starting with football, we are in the midst of bowl season as college football teams are ending their seasons day by day. And then taking a look at what's going on in the NFL, we are in the midst of the third to last week of the 2021 seasons, as many teams are still fighting for playoff positioning. Taking a look at what's going on with basketball, both college and pro are both underway as they're going to go way into 2022. And I say the same about soccer, as they have hit the mid-season break, as it'll be a second until these European teams start playing up again. With that said, taking a look at the lone bowl game from yesterday between unranked Georgia State and unranked Ball State in the Tax Act Camellia Bowl, the unranked Georgia State Panthers would beat the Ball State Cardinals 51-20. Georgia State outscored Ball State 20-13 in the first half before outscoring them 31-7 in the second. On the losing end of this matchup, the Ball State Cardinals were led by their starting quarterback, Drew Plitt. Plitt threw for 293 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He also had a touchdown on the ground, and their leading rusher, Carson Steele, would finish with 15 carries for 62 yards. He also had 3 receptions for 40 yards. He had 102 total yards of offense. Ball State's leading receiver, Ja'Shawn Jackson, had 12 receptions for 146 yards and the team's lone receiving touchdown. On the defensive side of the ball, Clayton Cole finished with 13 tackles, leading the team. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Georgia State Panthers were led by their starting quarterback, Darren Granger. Granger would throw for 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also was the team's leading rusher. He had 122 yards and a touchdown on the ground. He finished with 325 total yards of offense and 4 touchdowns. Their leading receiver, Aubrey Payne, would finish with 8 receptions for 109 yards as he had 2 touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, Antavius Lane finished with 10 tackles, leading the team, and he also had the team's lone interception. It was a 55-yard pick six. With this win, the unranked Georgia State Panthers from the Sun Belt will finish their season with an 8-5 record, and with this loss, the unranked Ball State Cardinals from the Mid-America Conference will finish their 2021 season with a 6-7 record. Taking a look at what went down in the NFL, because there were no big college basketball games yesterday, there were 2 Christmas football games. Starting off in Lambeau, the Green Bay Packers hosted the Cleveland Browns. The Packers would end up beating the Browns 24-22. The Packers outscored the Browns 21-12 in the first half. The Browns tried to bring it back, outscoring the Packers 10-3 in the second half. It just wouldn't be enough, as the Packers defense just had enough in the tank. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cleveland Browns were led by their starting quarterback, Baker Mayfield. He threw for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He also ran for another 11 yards. He had 233 total yards of offense. The Browns' elite running back, Nick Chubb, finished with 17 carries for 126 yards and a touchdown. He was also the team's leading receiver, as he had 3 receptions for 58 yards. He, of course, would finish with 184 total yards of offense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, MJ Stewart Jr. finished with 10 tackles on the day. On the winning end of this matchup, the Green Bay Packers were led by their goated starting quarterback out of Cal, Aaron Rodgers. He threw for 202 yards as he completed 24 of his 34 passes. He threw for 3 touchdowns. That's what he would do on the day. The Packers' elite running back Aaron Jones finished with 12 carries for 66 yards on the ground. He also had 5 receptions for 21 yards, giving him 87 total yards of offense. Their elite wide receiver Devontae Adams, who actually turned 29 yesterday, was able to finish with 10 receptions for 114 yards and 2 of the team's 3 receiving touchdowns. On the defensive side of the ball, the Green Bay Packers were led in tackles by Devondre Campbell. Rashawn Gary, their defensive tackle out of Michigan, finished with 3 tackles as he had 2 of the team's 5 sacks. The team would post 4 interceptions as Rasul Douglas finished with 2 of them alongside his 5 sacks. Chandon Sullivan's interception, of course, would come along his 1 tackle. Darnell Savage would go on to finish with 8 tackles alongside his interception. With this win, the Green Bay Packers are now 12-3 as they are still undefeated at home. And with this loss, the Cleveland Browns are now 7-8 on the season. Taking a look at what went down in Phoenix, the Arizona Cardinals hosted the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts would end up beating the Cardinals 22-16 as the Colts outscored the Cardinals 12-6 in the first half, and both teams would end up scoring 10 points in the second half. And taking a look at how the Cardinals fared on the losing end of this matchup. They were led by their elite starting quarterback, Kyler Murray. He would complete 27 of his 43 passes as he threw for 245 yards and a touchdown. On the ground for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray would be their leading rusher as he also had 74 yards on the day. That would combine for 319 total yards of offense with his 1 touchdown through the air. Their second leading rusher, Chase Edmonds, was their leading receiver. He had 16 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and he had 71 yards through the air. That's 127 total yards of offense. On the defensive side of the ball, the Cardinals' leading tackler was their elite safety, Budda Baker, out of Washington. He finished with 12 tackles and 1 of the team's 2 sacks. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the Indianapolis Colts were led by their starting quarterback out of North Dakota State, Carson Wentz. Wentz threw for 225 yards and 2 touchdowns. He would also run for 4 yards. That's 229 total yards of offense. The Colts starting running back Jonathan Taylor finished with 27 carries for 108 yards on the ground. Their leading receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., had 8 receptions for 82 yards. The Colts' second leading receiver, T.Y. Hilton, had 4 receptions for 51 yards as he had a touchdown for himself. The Colts' leading tacklers were George Odom and E.J. Speed as they each had 9 tackles. With this win, the Indianapolis Colts are now 9-6 on the season, and with this loss, the Arizona Cardinals are now 10-5 on the season. So that is what the NFL is looking like following yesterday's Christmas Day games. And taking a look at what went down in the NBA game by game, starting off in Madison Square Garden, the New York Knicks hosted the Atlanta Hawks, and the Knicks would beat the Hawks 101-87. The Knicks won this matchup by 14 after they outscored the Hawks by 10 in the first half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Atlanta Hawks were led in scoring by their starting small forward, John Collins. Collins finished with 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes. He shot 7 for 18 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. The Hawks starting shooting guard, DeLon Wright out of Utah, will go on to finish with 20 points and 3 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field, 4 for 5 from 3 as well. And, of course, on the winning end of this matchup, the New York Knicks were led in scoring by their starting power forward, Julius Randle. He finished with 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 steals in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 15 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3, and he made one of his 4 free throw attempts on the night. The Knicks' elite starting point guard, Kemba Walker, finished with 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 12 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 3 for 12 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3, and he made both of his free throw attempts on the night. With this win, the New York Knicks are now 15-18. With this loss, the Atlanta Hawks are now 15-17. Taking a look at what went down in Milwaukee, the defending NBA champs Milwaukee Bucks hosted the Boston Celtics. The defending champs would beat the Celtics 117-113. They won this matchup by 4 after they outscored the Celtics by 19 points in the second half. On the losing end of this matchup, the Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum, and their starting shooting guard out of California, Jaylen Brown. Tatum finished with 25 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He shot 7 for 20 from the field, 4 for 10 from 3, and he shot 7 for 8 from the foul line. Jaylen Brown finished with 25 points and 2 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field and a perfect 7 for 7 from the line. On the winning end of this matchup there, the Bucks' elite starting power forward Giannis Antetokounmpo finished with 36 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks in 30 minutes. He shot 13 for 23 from the field and 10 for 15 from the foul line. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 22-33. With this loss, the Boston Celtics are now 16-17. Jumping out to Phoenix, the Suns hosted the Golden State Warriors, and the Warriors would beat the Suns 116-107. The Warriors would win this matchup by 9 after outscoring the Suns by 13 in the second half, including 9 in the fourth quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the Suns were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard, Chris Paul. Paul finished with 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists in 38 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Devon Booker, finished with 13 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 5 for 19 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, Stephen Curry. He finished with 33 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 10 for 27 from the field, 5 for 16 from 3, and he shot 8 for 9 from the foul line. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are now 27-6. With this loss, the Phoenix Suns are now 26-6. Taking a look at what went down in the Crypto.com arena, the Los Angeles Lakers hosted the Brooklyn Nets. The Nets would end up beating the Lakers 122-115. The Nets won this matchup by 7 after they outscored the Lakers by 15 in the first and by 16 in the third. On the losing end of this matchup, the Lakers were led in scoring by their goated small forward, LeBron James. He finished with 39 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals in 40 minutes. He shot 14 for 25 from the field, 3 for 9 from 3, and 8 for 9 from the foul line. Off the bench, the Lakers shooting guard, Malik Monk, finished with 20 points in 35 minutes. He shot 8 for 13 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and he made his only free throw attempt on the night. The Lakers' elite starting point guard, Russell Westbrook, finished with 13 points, 12 rebounds, and 11 assists in 37 minutes. He shot 4 for 20 from the field and 5 for 6 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Brooklyn Nets were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, James Harden. He finished with 36 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, and 3 blocks in 39 minutes. He shot 10 for 25 from the field, 3 for 8 from 3, and 13 for 17 from the foul line. Their starting point guard out of Australia, Patty Mills, finished with 34 points and 7 assists in 36 minutes. He shot 11 for 17 from the field, and he shot 8 for 13 from 3 as he shot a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Brooklyn Nets are now 22-9. With this loss, the Los Angeles Lakers are now 16-18. Taking one last look at what went down in Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz hosted the Dallas Mavericks. The Jazz would end up beating the Mavericks 120-116. Going into the fourth quarter, both teams were tied, with the Jazz outscored the Mavericks by 4 in the fourth quarter to run away with this win, and this was after they outscored the Mavs by 11 in the second quarter. On the losing end, the Dallas Mavericks were led in scoring by their starting center, Kristaps Porzingis, and their starting point guard, Jalen Brunson. Porzingis finished with 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 18 from the field and 11 for 13 from the foul line. The Mavericks starting point guard, Jalen Brunson, finished with 27 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes. He shot 10 for 25 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and he would go on to shoot 5 for 8 from the foul line. On the winning end of this matchup, the Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell. He finished with 33 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals in 35 minutes. He shot 11 for 26 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 10 for 11 from the foul line. Their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic, finished with 25 points in 25 minutes. He shot 9 for 14 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. The Jazz starting point guard, their former All-Star Mike Conley, finished with 22 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 31 minutes. He shot 6 for 12 from the field. He shot 3 for 8 from 3 and 7 for 8 from the foul line. The Jazz elite starting center, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 10 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 34 minutes. He shot 4 for 6 from the field and 2 for 3 from the foul line, With this win, the Utah Jazz are now 23-9, and with this loss, the Dallas Mavericks are now 15-7. With this win, or that is currently how the NBA is shaping up. And with most of international soccer at its break, that's all I can give for you for today. And first off, I want to thank the ESPN, the NCAA, the NBA, and the NFL websites for giving me all the stats and figures that I needed for this episode. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do so. And I want to thank everyone for listening to all 14, 15 minutes of this episode. I know it's been quite a journey. Thanks for sticking along with me as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Once all of today's exhibitions and matchups are done, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Monday, December 27th for another episode of The Elite. So until then, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you then. Peace out.